Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ben here, and today I'm back to talk about my NFL award uh, picks for this 2018 season, which is now spilled over into 2019 for the playoffs. Basically, I'm just going to be going through most of the major awards, such as Rookie of the Year, Offense and Defense, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, and Coach of the Year. So those are like really the only awards. I'm not going to go through each position and go through every All-Pro person and stuff like that, but I'll go through those awards that I named and we will get into it. So it's going to be a fairly short video as far as videos go. So to review, the one I want to start with is offensive and defensive rookies of the year. So for offense, I am going to go with, let's see here. I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley of the New York Giants. Now, I think most people would want me to go with Baker Mayfield because he set the rookie touchdown record and all that jazz. And yes, he did really good, but I think Saquon Barkley was really just better. I don't know. He was second in the NFL in rushing. Let's see here. As far as rushing touchdowns, he was fifth. He had 11. Baker Mayfield did good, I will admit, but he had some ugly games. Like, for instance, just this last game he had versus the Ravens, I think he threw two touchdowns to three interceptions, three killer interceptions, too. Like, at the worst times possible, he threw them. Um, I don't know. I'm just not a Baker fan. I'm not completely sold on him. I do acknowledge that the Browns finished 7-8-1, which is their best record in a very long time. But on the other hand, I think that give Saquon Barkley a slightly better roster, and he uh, just like I think people are getting hung up on Saquon Barkley's team finishing 5-11, but he really was outstanding. And if you look at the Giants' running game before he came, it was terrible, and now it's really respectable and actually probably one of the best ones in the league, I'd say. So I think that just because the record was bad doesn't mean that should hurt what he did individually. So I'm going to take Saquon Barkley as my offensive rookie of the year. Defensive rookie of the year, I am going to be taking um, the linebacker from the Colts, which is Darius Leonard. He led the NFL in total tackles this last season with 163. I'm not going to say came out of nowhere because people knew of him when he arrived in the NFL, but I'd say that he really um, definitely overperformed, leading the NFL in tackles. No one really expected that from him. So not much to say here. I got Darius Leonard as my defensive player or rookie of the year, I should say. The only other guy that I considered was Derwin James, the safety from the Chargers. He had a very good year as well, but I just feel like leading the league in tackles is really impressive, and so for that reason, I got Darius Leonard. So for Coach of the Year, the next award I'm going to talk about, so the guy I have for this is Matt Nagy of the Bears. The Bears finish winning the Northern Division in the NFC. They finish with a record of 12-4, and they're the 3 seed in the playoffs. No one really expected this from them whatsoever. They were 5-11 last year, and I think most people would have expected them to maybe be like 7-9 or 8-8. But 12-4 is stupendous, and the defense is amazing, along with a really creative offense, which compensates for its average talent by having really good play calling and really creative play calling by Matt Nagy. And so, because of that, I'm going to give the award to him. Other people I could have seen winning the award would be like Sean Payton getting the Saints to 13-3. But again, they had like a super talented roster, and nobody was really surprised that they finished with that record. Same with the Rams. I can't really give it to Sean McVay. Yes, they finished 13-3, and he was really impressive. But a couple of factors, such as he won it last year, and so it's like he kind of just did the same thing with slightly different players. Um, and nothing really changed as far as how he coached the team, and it wasn't like a huge turnaround or anything. Although 13-3 is impressive for them. Andy Reid, I feel like his teams are always like 11-5 or 12-4, so I can't really give it to him. You could give it to Frank Reich of the Colts, who they started 1-5 and they finished 10-6. That's pretty impressive. And You could give it to Bill O'Brien too on the Texans, starting 0-3 and finishing 11-5. That's pretty impressive as well. But to me, it's Matt Nagy because no one expected it whatsoever, and they finished really good. Okay, so moving on to Offensive Player of the Year. For this award, I have Patrick Mahomes. Well, no, let's see here. I I don't have Patrick Mahomes winning. Actually, I think who I have winning would be Andrew Luck. Actually, Andrew Luck finished with 39 touchdown passes. And let's see here. He was fifth in the league in um, yardage. He finished with 4,593 yards. He's really that Colts team. They have a pretty good defense, which is surprising because no one expected that. But Andrew Luck is the team. You know, they start 1-5, and he's coming off the big injury, and he's pretty rusty. But after that week 6, he gets going, and he's back to his normal self. And after that, they finish 9-1. So to me, Andrew Luck deserves the award. Yes, he's only fifth in the NFL in throwing yardage, but he was second in passing touchdowns, and he had minimal interceptions. So for that reason, I'm going to give it to Andrew Luck. Let's see here. Defensive Player of the Year award, I have that going to Aaron Donald, who I believe won it last year as well, but I have winning it again. He led the NFL in sacks this year at 20.5, and that's amazing for a defensive tackle. Usually outside linebackers or defensive ends can more easily sack the quarterback because they're on the outside and they can rush around the edges. But a defensive tackle, it's much harder because you're going up against a guy for sure every time, and you have to break by them. And as I say, if you're a defensive end or an outside linebacker, sometimes you can just run around the outside of the lineman and then get a sack because there's no one to block you. But with a defensive tackle, you know for sure you're going up against an offensive tackle, and so the only way to get a sack is just by being stronger than them and breaking past them, which is much harder to do to get a sack. And Aaron Donald did that 20.5 times and led the league in sacks, and I'd say he's the most dominant force on defense we have in the NFL right now. Probably between him and Khalil Mack and J.J. Watt, but this year I'm giving it to Aaron Donald. And as I say, probably my runner-up for this would be Khalil Mack. He doesn't have amazing he's kind of low on the sacks list. He's tied for 12th at 12.5, but he just was such a transformative presence on the Bears this year. I would consider giving it to him as well. Next, we have, let's see here. We already did Coach of the Year, Offense and Defensive Player of the Year, which really only leaves us with MVP. And so for MVP, I have no big surprise, I don't think, to anybody. I have Patrick Mahomes winning. He, as his first year as a starter, threw for over 5,000 yards and also was only the third quarterback in NFL history to throw for 50 touchdowns or more, and he did that in his first year of starting. He threw 50 touchdowns, had over 5,000 yards passing, led an explosive offense, and the Chiefs finished 12-4 with the 1 seed, got a bye and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So for those reasons, all combined, along with just his individual numbers and play, I'm giving the award to Patrick Mahomes. He deserves it. He's the NFL MVP. All right, guys, that's all I have to say. As I said, it was going to be a pretty short video. I just wanted to go through those picks for, again, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Offense and Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, and MVP. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know below if you agree or disagree. I'd love to hear from you, and have a good day. Bye.